Hey people, come on in, come on in, come on in. Nicole, hey, how you doing? I'm gonna try to touch on this case really quick. All right, Miss Hill, get it in now, get it in. That's what I'm talking about. Maybe this will give you some inspiration. Elizabeth, hey, how you doing? How you doing? So I tried to show a premiere earlier today. Last night when I did the live, one of the viewers, Sincerely Me Bree, she mentioned this case and asked me had I heard about it, and I told her no. I'm good. I'm good, Miss Cook. I told her no, and then I went and did some research on it last night, and I have no idea how. Well, yes, I do. I was gonna say I have no idea how I overlooked the case, but I had a lot of stuff going on, so I didn't know that the stuff was even going on, and it happened on February the 23rd. So there was a lot of outrage because people felt like it didn't get the attention that it deserved, and I feel the same way. But I also understand how things work with the quarantine. But when she said something last night, I went on Twitter and it like popped up on my timeline. So I tried to put the two premiered earlier, and YouTube blocked it. And I don't know if it was because of um, the story that was behind it, because there's some tension behind it, and I won't say what kind because I don't want them trying to flag this video, but there's some tension behind it, and I just don't think it needs to be overlooked. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna have discussion on it. Hey Pico, how you doing? Just so I can make sure that the information is given out, and I'm gonna follow it for a little while because I mean this was really a modern day lynching, and I think it needs to be addressed. Um, and one of the more important things involved in this case is not only that this was a 25-year-old black man um, that was affected, him and his family, but the person that was most responsible for what happened was a former law enforcement officer. Not just a former law enforcement officer, he worked with the police department and he also worked with the DA's office as an investigator. So I feel like this is just as important as anything else that's being put out there in the media, um, and it definitely deserves our attention. He doesn't have to be a superstar or anything for us to stand up and fight for him because, like I said, this happened February the 23rd this year. So it's just some things that we need to pay attention to. So let's see if I can get it. I'll hopefully it'll play good on this phone. It's on my TV. I'm gonna have to read this up for a minute.
New information about a story that we first told you about on Sunday night, the case of Ahmaud, a 25-year-old Georgia man who police say was chased, shot, and killed while jogging. CNN has obtained video of Aubrey being shot and killed on February 23rd in Glenn County, Georgia. The video appears to show Aubrey jogging in a neighborhood outside Brunswick, Georgia, near a pickup truck with two armed men. Physical confrontation between Aubrey and one of the men ensues. 3 gunshots are heard before Aubrey falls to the ground. And I want to warn you, the video is disturbing.
You guys can see it.
CNN has not independently verified who filmed the video, but its elements are consistent with the description of the Glenn County Police Department's report of the incident. The video was obtained after a Brunswick, Georgia radio host uploaded it on the station's website. The video has since been deleted from the website. I'm going to bring in now CNN's Martin Savage. Wow, Martin. What's been the reaction tonight to this video? Good evening, by the way. What's been the reaction?
Good evening, Don. Yeah, what you would expect, shock, horror, outrage, frustration. The video, as some people have told me, it made them ill. Others say it brought them to tears. There's been a tremendous amount of frustration here for months now because many people felt that due to the pandemic, the story had not received the notoriety that it needed. And also due to the lockdown that the state had, the stay-at-home order, and the fact that large crowds weren't allowed, people couldn't demonstrate. They couldn't vent their frustrations. They couldn't say how unjust they believe all of this has been. There were protests tonight. People said essentially the pandemic be damned. Here's what the head of the local chapter of the NAACP said about the video.
I was extremely disheartened. Literally, upon viewing the video, I began to cry. To believe that human beings could treat another human being that way. And of course, we see stuff on TV, but to be able to see it for yourself, him fearing for his life, and being trapped like some animal between 2 cars, while men with guns sat there trying to take his life as he fought for his life. It was extremely disheartening.
In addition to the video, there's some news on the legal front. Fill us in on that.
That's right. There is the 3rd district attorney of this case. The first 2 had to recuse themselves because of connections or perceived connections to one of the men in the video that has a gun. The 3rd DA has come out today, coincidentally enough, and said he will be taking this case to a grand jury. Now, that is a relief to a lot of people here to hear that news. But at the same time, then there's the realization, now, wait a minute here, there are no grand juries going on right now, and they're not likely to be grand juries for quite some time. In fact, the earliest could be the middle of June, so it adds to the frustration. It's been over 2 months since anything has happened. Many believe an arrest should have been made on the very first day, and now they're being told they'll have to wait till June at perhaps the earliest. It could be longer than that. So it's adding to the boiling temperament here.
I understand you encountered some tensions in the area. What did you experience, Mark?
We went to the neighborhood today, as we always would, to try to talk to witnesses, to try to even talk to those that were seen in the video, to get their take on this story. And while we were there, we had been videoing for a few moments when suddenly this happened. Now, that is the sound of semi-automatic gunfire. Nobody was hit, nobody was hurt. I can't even say for sure if there wasn't someone firing blanks or maybe even had a good sound system. What I can say is it was clearly being directed at us, and the message was that we were not wanted in that neighborhood.
just in case you can't see it, based on the video footage, I'll come back and read it later. So hopefully you guys could tell what was going on in the video. Like I said, it is up. You can go back and watch it yourself. It's called Justice on the Run. Ahmaud running for his life. So the situation with Ahmaud, 25-year-old, used to be a star football player for his high school. People knew him for running, like that's his thing. You couldn't catch him. Like to go for runs through the neighborhood and nearby neighborhoods, and on February the 23rd, he was running through a neighborhood in Georgia, and some people took it upon themselves. They felt like he looked suspicious. Who was he to be running through that particular neighborhood? It wasn't the first time that they saw him running through the neighborhood, but that particular day, I guess, it was a problem for him to be running through that neighborhood. So what I didn't put on the video is some a little bit more information detailing what happened that day before he was ever shot. And I'm gonna go back and hopefully I can give you guys a better view of the video if you haven't seen it. I'm gonna try to pull that video up again. Before we have this discussion. So someone is following him for some reason. They're following him through the neighborhood already and recording. And that's him running. So, when you say modern day lynching, that was a modern day lynching. They basically like ran him down, tracked him down like they were deer hunting. And it's just, I don't know. I'm gonna go over some details from before it actually happened. Hey Muse, how you doing? And y'all, let me go back and speak. If I didn't speak to you when you came in, I'm sorry. They don't want us in their neighborhood, in their town, or in their existence. They have two laws, one for them and one for us. This is a true story. Just evil people. Hey Miss Fat. Peace in the puzzle. Hey, God's property. Hey, hey. Vonda Griffin. Hey. So the situation was, I saw one of the posts, somebody was asking, well, why didn't they call the police if there was a problem? Well, they did call the police. That's part of the problem. And one of the other problems is that these two men are still walking in the street, able to do, whatever they choose to do. So we already see that there's something wrong with that picture, because they just blatantly just murdered somebody in cold blood. They tracked him down. So I'm gonna give you the full story, and it was definitely premeditated. So I'm gonna go back just to give you the moments before. Moments before Ahmaud Arbery was shot dead on a public street on a Sunday afternoon in February, 911 dispatchers received the first of two calls about his presence in a Satilla Shores neighborhood, and I may be pronouncing that wrong. 50 seconds into that call, the dispatcher interrupted the man with a pressing question. The dispatcher said, "I just need to know what he was doing wrong." That's what she asked the caller at 1:08. Shortly afterward, retired Brunswick Judicial Circuit District Attorney Investigator Gregory McMichael and his adult son Travis McMichael armed themselves and pursued Arbery down Satilla Drive in a pickup truck, according to a Glenn County police report. A block away at Satilla Drive and Buford Road, Travis McMichael stepped out of the truck with a shotgun and confronted Arbery, 25, the report said. Travis McMichael fired the gun twice. During the ensuing struggle, Arbery died on the spot. 2 months later, and this article was written on April 29th, so we're into May now. So 2 months later, there is no resolution to the case. The case originally was assigned by the state attorney general to Ware County DA George Barnhill. Brunswick DA Jackie Johnson has cited a conflict of interest, noting McMichael's more than 20 years as an investigator with her office. McMichael served 7 years prior to that as a Glenn County police officer. Ware County DA Barnhill stepped away from the case early this month at the request of the Arbery's family. Barnhill said the family cited a conflict between his son, George Barnhill, who is an attorney with the Brunswick DA. The state attorney turned the case over to Durden on April the 13th. Jackie's office delivered the files to me and things are moving along, Durden told the news today. So they had two DAs that had to recuse themselves from the case because of conflicts of interest, and now it's in a third attorney's hands. As for the emergency call that happened on February 23rd, the 911 dispatcher never got a clear answer to her question when she asked what did he do wrong. The man said Arbery was walking inside an open house that apparently had been under construction for some time. This is what was on the transcript. And he said that Arbery also ran. That's what he was out there. Okay. The 911 center received a second call from the Satilla Shores neighborhood moments later. So they called at 1:08, they called at 1:14 p.m. The caller said, "I'm out here at Satilla Shores. There's a black male running down the street." Arbery was black, the McMichaels were white. Now, just keep in mind, Ahmaud was an enthusiastic runner, according to his friends and family. He was a former all-star linebacker at Brunswick High and was often seen jogging in the community. Now back to this call. Both calls. Both callers to 911 that day reported seeing Ahmaud running. The identities of the callers were redacted from the transcript of the 911 call that was provided. Ahmaud had been seen recently, this is what they said, had been seen recently on surveillance video in the neighborhood, according to the first caller. Neither calls specified a crime that Ahmaud had committed. The guy went on to say, "There's a guy in the house right now. It's under construction," the man told the dispatcher. The man then gave her an address. The dispatcher said, "And you said someone's breaking into it right now?" The man replied, "No, It's all open. It's under construction. The man interrupted to say that Ahmaud was leaving, and there he goes right now. The dispatcher said, okay, what is he doing? The man said he's running down the street. Then the next sentence was garbled. The dispatcher said, that's fine. I'll get police out there. I just need to know what he was doing wrong. Was he just on the premises and not supposed to be? The guy's next sentence was garbled. And he continued to say, and he's been caught on camera a bunch at night. It's kind of an ongoing thing. The man building the house has heart issues. I think he's not going to finish it. The dispatcher again said, okay, that's fine. And you said he was a male in a black t-shirt? The guy says, white t-shirt. Black guy, white t-shirt. He's done run into the neighborhood again. The next 911 call from the Satilla Shores neighborhood came in at 1:14. So you had 108, now we're at 1:14, second call. I'm out here at Satilla Shores, the man said. There's a black male running down the street. The dispatcher asked, where is Satilla Shores? The guy responds, I don't know what street we're on. Then he said, stop. He could be heard shouting, watch that, stop, damn it, stop. The call went blank for several minutes with the dispatcher trying several times to reach the caller. The call eventually hung up. At some point during all of this, Gregory McMichael, which was the retired law enforcement officer, was outside at his son's home when he saw Ahmaud running down the street. This is what he told the police. He said he ran inside, armed himself, and told his son to grab a gun. This is what he told the police. He said they had seen Ahmaud on surveillance cameras. The two men got into his son's pickup truck and caught up to Ahmaud at Burford and Satilla Drive. After asking Ahmaud several times to stop. First, let me ask, who are you to tell a grown man to stop running? How much sense does that make? Who are you? Let me just move on, okay? After asking Ahmaud several times to stop, Travis McMichael stepped out of the truck with a shotgun. This is what they told the police. The son stepped out of the truck with a shotgun. Gregory McMichael told the police that Ahmaud and his son, he said there was a struggle for the gun. A struggle for the gun ensued between Travis and Ahmaud, during which his son fired twice, and Ahmaud died at the scene. Now, you saw from that video, there was a bit of a struggle. His son had been pushed off a couple of times, so he had a chance to turn away because that man was trying to run away and go about his business. So there's no struggle that just ensued. You provoked a struggle. You created that struggle. You created that contact between that man. You orchestrated this whole thing. And all he was trying to do was run through the neighborhood like he was doing any other day. After the fatal shooting, Gregory McMichael told responding police, I need you to listen to this now. He told responding police there have been several break-ins in the neighborhood. That's what he said in the police report. Now, some of the journalists went because they hadn't heard anything about any break-ins in the neighborhood, so they dug a little deeper. Only one burglary, one. An automobile burglary was reported to county police in Satilla Shores neighborhood between January 1st and February the 23rd. So you lied in the police report. Let's just be clear on that. You lied in the police report. In almost 2 months, there was one burglary, if you want to call it a burglary, and it was where a gun was left, a truck was left, the son's truck was left unlocked in front of his house, and he had a gun in the truck. And somebody walked by, I guess they saw the gun or went in the truck, whatever, and they stole it. Okay. According to documents obtained by the news and a public records request to the Glenn County Police Department, I don't know what's going on with those dogs. The burglary involved a Smith & Wesson 9mm pistol stolen on January the 1st from a pickup truck outside the Satilla Drive. That's their home. And it was the home of the son. So the one burglary that you did say existed involved your son. So I'm going to assume that you guys assume that it couldn't be anybody else except the black guy that has been running through the neighborhood. Go figure. Gregory McMichael, he moved his Ford F-150, his 2011 Ford F-150, from one spot to another in front of the home at around 9:30 a.m. on January the 1st, and he forgot to lock it afterwards. About an hour later, Travis found the handgun's empty holster on the front, on the front seat. On the unlocked truck's front seat, I'm sorry. Then they had someone going on talking about the guy and what happened. Like what type of person he was, what he meant to football, what he meant to the school and football and everything like that. They spoke to one guy that was related to him, or he knew him as a nephew. They didn't say if that was his blood nephew or whatever, but he said it's a dark wound in our whole family. The Augusta resident said it makes us feel miserable, not only for his death, but for what happened, how it happened, why it happened. So when we're talking about injustice and things of that nature, I really think that it's important that we don't leave anybody out in this fight. I know when I worked for DJJ, Department of Juvenile Justice, years ago, and you had more than one person fight an individual, that was considered a lynching. If it was more than one, that means you jumped them, that was considered a lynching. What you have on this particular situation, those kids, they were detained, that like whenever that police report came through, they were detained at the police department and they were sent off to Columbia to the reception and evaluation center for them to do whatever evaluations that needed to be done, and then they came back and they went before the judge. So you have two adult men here, one man that was a former police officer, so he knows better. And not only was he a former police officer, but he was a former investigator for the DA's office. So we can't pretend like he did not know what he was doing. And we're not going to pretend like his son didn't know either. Let's just be clear on that. For them to be able to walk around and there's no outrage about this. Think about it now. You got people fighting for certain people to be able to get out on bail or get bond for this and stuff. You have these two men that took it upon themselves, and they murdered this young man in cold blood. And not only did you murder him in cold blood, but you also tried to justify what you were doing by making sure that you called 911 so somebody could say, oh, well, they called about this guy. But you couldn't tell them one thing that this man was doing wrong other than being black in the wrong community. That's the only thing that I see. You saying that he walked inside of a house that had been under construction for God knows how long, but you're not saying he's breaking into the house, he's just walking through the house. That's not your house to be worried about. And if he's just going in and out, how many people have seen a house that people have been working on a construction site and you want to see what the house looks like on the inside? I don't know if that's what he went in there for, but that's not a crime unless the person that owns that house is saying that you're trespassing. So again, you try to come up with another excuse. And when the lady asks you, is he breaking into the house? No, ma'am, he's not. Oh, there he goes again. Now he's running. He was running from the beginning. Next question. Who and a Sand Hill was following this boy. See, they only named 2 people. Who was following this man behind them, recording him the whole time? Because somebody knew that something was about to happen. Right? They didn't record any interactions with them. But all of a sudden, right before this young man gets shot, this camera comes on. You see them going after the guy. He goes around the truck when they stop so he doesn't run into them, and they meet him around the truck. And you're trying to get a 25-year-old man who's out trying to run, trying to get his exercise. You want him to stop simply because you said so. Where they do that at? Where? And so for anybody to sit there, and I know a lot of people are saying, oh, well, the new DA or the new attorney, I think it's the attorney general, the new person has it, and now it's a win because he's pushing it to the grand jury. No, that's a cop-out. You're pushing it to the grand jury because you don't want to be the one to just sit there and charge them for these crimes. That's what the problem is. You go ahead and do your job. The video says it all. There's nothing else that needs to be explained. Go ahead and charge them for these crimes that they committed. Go ahead and charge that son with first-degree murder. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to do that. Take it out of the local level. Charge them with a hate crime. Because you made it clear on that phone that you were running behind this man because he was a young black man in a white t-shirt in the wrong neighborhood. So let's take this and do it the way that it's supposed to be done. You don't have to pass that off to a grand jury. You can go ahead and do it the flip you're going to do, or you hold them. Because one thing's for certain and 2 things for sure. You saw one of them shoot him. And you saw the other one with his little pistol on the back of the truck. And it looked like he fired as well. Now, what I heard on that video was at least 3 shots. They said he got shot at least twice. I heard at least 3 shots. So if you got somebody with a big behind shotgun, and to be clear, anybody that is familiar with guns or anything, you know if you're shooting somebody with a shotgun, first of all, you're not happy to see them. You're not trying to greet them. And if you're shooting them at point blank range like they did, you for darn sure not hoping that they live. Let's be clear. And then you have this man on the back of the truck with this 9mm. And he's probably not even 5-6 feet away from him. You plan on doing some damage. Now, what was the purpose if this not even your neighborhood now, you over at your son's house and this man runs by and you tell your son, go get your gun, and you grab your gun. How much sense does that make? You see a black man running through the neighborhood and that automatically equates to grab your gun. Maybe I'm a little slow. But one thing I do know is I know about these weapons, and you were not. There was nothing about what you did. And I'm thinking that you're really sitting there holding a grudge against this guy because you think that he stole your gun. Number one, your door shouldn't have been unlocked with your gun free out for anybody to ride by or walk by and get it out your truck in the first place. That means that you were irresponsible with it from the beginning and you shouldn't have had it. If you can't be responsible with it, then you don't need to have it. You leave your truck unlocked and all of a sudden your holster is laying in your seat. What if that was a child? It's just a lot of things in here, and it's good that the young man's family was paying attention to identify some conflicts of interest too, because these people were going to move on like it was no problem, and nobody was going to say anything. So the first one was caught, then the family caught the second one, and now they have this person right here. But there's no time to have all these pats on the back and all this stuff, because he's still putting it off on somebody else because he can charge them. He has the authority. That's his job, to go ahead and charge them. You have video evidence. This is not hearsay. They told you they shot him. You saw the video and you said from watching the video, and that's what I meant to do. I was supposed to go and read that to y'all. So let me read his statement really quick. Okay, so it's Attorney General, Georgia Attorney General, Chris Carr, put a statement on Twitter today. Yesterday at 9:39 p.m. Based on the video footage and news reports that I have seen, I am deeply concerned with the events surrounding the shooting of Ahmaud Arbery. I expect justice to be carried out as swiftly as possible, and I stand ready to support GBI Director Reynolds, DA Durden, and the local community. This is the Attorney General, Chris Carr. So, we're going to see what the local DA's office does with this whole thing. But like I said, as of today, these men are still walking around. They're still moving freely. They're able to do whatever they choose to do. And I try not to, I kind of did their picture kind of faded because I really didn't want to put too much up there. But this is the guy and his son. So again, I'm going to ask you, how do you look? It's just with anybody else. If you're running down, y'all know I walk in the morning. If I'm walking down or I start jogging on my little, daily commute every day, and you don't know me from a can of paint, and you feel like you can just come up to me and tell me to stop, how do you think that's going to work out? Why do you think I would listen to you? I see people mentioning the NAACP. The NAACP is on this now. Georgia NAACP is on this. They've been pushing. They've been pushing on this. But the fact of the matter is, we can't just put it on just one organization. We got to speak out. We got to speak out. We need to have that same energy that we're having with these other injustices. We need to have that same energy with this one. And that's what I was talking about last night. We can't have selective rage. If this doesn't make you mad, I don't know what else will make you mad. It was one person that said on Twitter, he used to be worried about, people mistaking him for something else when he runs at night. So he was like, I got to start running during the day. He was more safer running during the day. Well, now he feels like, oh, well, you done proved me wrong on this one. I guess I need to start back running at night because you're guilty in the daytime too. This happened in real time. This happened in real time. And this is I don't even know. It's almost like what I saw in that video reminded me of a movie. I'm just sitting there watching you like you waiting on deer to run across the road or whatever, I don't know. I don't know. And it's So shout out to Sincerely Me Bree for even bringing this up because I had no idea. And I just haven't been in the media and paying attention to a lot of stuff right now because of stuff that was going on with my own family. But when you see stuff like this, yeah, something needs to happen. Somebody needs to do something. And we can't put it on one somebody. We can't do that. We all have a role to play in all of this. And we're making too much noise in one situation and to be quiet in this one. Because this could be somebody's son on here. We talk about, well, what if it's your son? What if it's your nephew? What if it's your grandson? Okay, well, this is another one of those examples. What if it was your son that's just trying to go about doing what he do? I'm going to go back on here and see. Let me go through the comments real quick. Thank you, Mia. And happy Nurses Week. Happy Nurses Week, ma'am. I think what you said. I'm telling you, brothers will go kill other brothers who beat up one of their homies. But these same brothers won't do nothing about situations like this. I can't deal with our folks. Okay, God's property. You just touched on something right there. You just touched on something. There was a spoken word piece that I did probably about 2, maybe 3 years ago, and it was entitled "Do All Lives Matter?" I don't know if I still have it. Let me see. But it was for this exact reason. It was for this exact reason because I hate to say this, but it is what it is. There's that, again, that selective outrage, right? And it's like, okay, it's time for us. We're going to be fired up about this because this person is in the news and, you know, everybody's talking about it. So we got to be enraged about this. And if it's not something that people put on the news and like really tell you that you need to be enraged about, then you don't have anything to say. And like I told you guys yesterday, we had 3 to 4 people that got shot in one single incident, just in my small little town. And you know, people go around talking about like, man, you heard about such and such. But where is that anger? The youngest person that was involved was 16 years old. Where is that anger? Where is that outrage in this type of situation? So you'll run, and that's how somebody else, to my understanding, ended up getting shot in this because they were going to somebody else's aid. But what if it's not your homeboy? You know what I'm saying? What if it's just this person down here that was down the street? Nobody's telling you to go grab a gun and like do whatever for people, but that same anger, that same outrage, why don't you have that for the next man? Like, where do we draw the line? How do we decide which Black Lives Matter? Like that, I'm just gonna be, I don't know what else. How are we gonna decide who makes that decision? That's what I'm trying to find out. Because we being picky and choosy about certain things. I just want to know who is the overall authoritative figure that decides, okay, well, this one matters, so let's go run on this one. Okay, that one over there, that matters, so let's run over there to that one. But this one, not so much. Not important enough. Who makes those decisions? Because I need to meet that person. How do you get to... I don't even know how to get to it. Lord, Facebook done changed so much, I don't know how to get to what. How do you get to your notes on Facebook? Does anybody know? I am not on here enough to figure this out. Wow. Let me see if somebody put an answer in here because I cannot figure it out. Pico, I can agree with that too, but I would also say, why can't I find this thing? Well, that's not what I was going to say, but um, I think that attention needs to be. Mhm. I think that we need to pay attention to this as well, because I mean, just looking at what we've seen on social media, we have no problem with destroying each other, and just my personal opinion. So y'all may not agree with what I'm saying, and that's okay. But I think that sometimes we we get so complacent about ourselves, and people see that, and it's like we don't recognize our own power, our own authority that we have within ourselves amongst each other, right? And when people see that, well, shoot, if you don't care about yourself, then are y'all doing it? So why we can't do it? Like it doesn't make it right. But when people see that you're willing to stand up for what you believe in, and I think that's what happened with this young man too. Like, bruh, you're not gonna tell me to stop. You're not gonna tell me where I can run. You're not gonna. I think he made a decision to stand up for himself against something that he knew wasn't right, and this was the outcome of it. But if it takes, I'm speaking for me. If it takes me losing my life to stand for what I believe in, then I'm willing to take that fight. Like, I got to do what I got to do. And I think more people have to be willing to not just stand up for each other, but shoot, you need to stand up for yourself. Because if you love yourself enough to stand up for yourself, and we're not talking about with some foolishness, but like truly stand up for yourself, for certain things that you won't allow to happen to you or your people. At least the people that are in your circle. Like, it's certain things you won't tolerate because you know it's not benefiting your people in the long run. And I'm just that's just my thought, just like on the whole thing. When I talk to my clients that have or that continue to serve long periods of time because of things that they've done, just to hear a lot of them talk, you'll hear them talking like after everything is said and done, you know, I should have done this and I should have done that, and I let this pass or I let that pass. But these are conversations that we need to be having in advance. These are conversations that need to be in the forefront right now, not after something happens. I spoke last night about us being proactive instead of being reactive. Like, this is one of those things. And even for us, if we're saying that the NAACP, so that name was brought up, so we'll go with that one. If we're saying that the NAACP isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing, or they're not stepping up like we want them to step up, then how are we filling in that gap? What are we supplementing? Because if there's something missing and we see it, then as a leader, we should have something. You know, we see what the problem is. So we need to come up with some type of conclusion or a way to fix that problem so we can work on something else. So what can we do different? Now, there's nothing that we could have done to stop them from shooting this young man. I mean, if you got it in you, you got it in you. It is what it is. But how things play out in this situation, I think we have a lot to do with that. And it's going to be about us making some noise, voicing our opinions. And not just voicing your opinions, voicing facts. Enough of this has happened. It's like every year we got to go through one of these events that happens to somebody, and we have this public outcry, and it lasts for a month or two, or as long as it's in the media, and the media keeps pushing it, then everybody gets quiet and everybody forgets about the person until an anniversary runs around, and then we're shouting out, you know, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm gonna say it. Now we're talking about Sandra Bland, Trayvon, like Tamir, like, then the names come up. We gotta keep this stuff going. We gotta keep it going. And realize that this stuff, it affects a lot of people. It affects a lot of people. So we have to decide, you know, are we really up for this fight, if this is something that we're gonna do, like I said, I've put my life towards this. Like literally, I have put my life towards this. That's what I do. Um, and I've had to take some serious thrashing, some serious thrashing um, behind it. But at the end of the day, I can't sit idly by and just watch you do folks. Not just about my folks, but I just can't I can't sit around and watch you do any folks any kind of way. Because you're not going to pick and choose who you're going to do right with. Mm-mm, we can't do that. But that's just my spiel. That's where I stand on that. I'm not disagreeing with anybody. But I just think it's time for people to be held accountable. We can't just keep brushing stuff off and, well, we know how it's going to go. And no. I can tell you this woman right here is not going to sit here and just sit behind this screen right here and watch these people just walk scot-free and claim self-defense when you got two grown men, a shotgun, a 9mm, and a 25-year-old black man that's just running, minding his business down the street with no weapon on him. I don't even know if the man had keys on him. So you are not going to say that you were acting in self-defense. And that's how they're trying to play this out right now. But again, I'm willing to make the noise. Who else is willing to make some noise? Who else is willing to go and like, listen, we're not letting this pass. We are not giving them a pass. And the one thing I tried to point out in that video that was going over the discussion that I tried to premiere earlier is, again, they're talking about getting this over to the grand jury. Well, we know because of the coronavirus that grand juries are not convening right now. So you're looking at maybe, they'll convene in June. Maybe they'll convene in June, maybe July, maybe August. We don't know what's going to happen with this pandemic. So it's up to us to stay on top of this stuff and make sure that this stuff gets done. But in the meantime, enough noise can and should be made that, like, you can't sit there and say there's nothing that can be done until this other stuff happens, because you have them on tape shooting the man. Like, it's that. What else? I don't know. But that's my frustration. That's my frustration with I don't want to say my people, because those are not my people, but that's my frustration. You can't go and call yourself taking the law into your own hands, and you're violating the law your darn self, and you're doing it behind this shield, this I'm law enforcement, I'm proud law enforcement, like I'm what, like, you, if you're gonna wear that badge and like throw that out there and handle yourself like you're still on the job, then you need to make sure that you're handling yourself like you're on the job. You can't go and just be picking fights with people and just running up on folks. And that's what we have with a lot of people. Hey Lisa, how you doing? That's what we have with a lot of people, because it is true that you do have some people in those types of positions that may not have the, I'm gonna say, the power that they want at home. They have no power at home. At least that's their perception. So they, go out, and those are the people that you'll see treating, people in facilities terrible. Those are the people that you'll see abusing their power. Hey Wanda, because they lack that power at home. They lack that power in the community. You're a guy, your wife, she running the house. You're a woman and you're doing this type of work. You feel like you can't get a word in with your husband. He's telling you everything that you need to do. You feel like you just can't do anything, and then you go with this group, you go with this vulnerable group that technically they can't do anything to you. I mean, they can. In real life, they can. But in your mind, they're only going to go so far, because they know that there are consequences to their actions. So if they try to come back at you the same way that you come at them, then you already know, you can call, for backup on this, you can charge them with this. Like, there's different things that you can do. So a lot of people do abuse that power. A lot of them do. And if they say that they don't, or if you have anybody that work in this type of environment and they say they've never seen it, they are lying. because it happens every day. It happens every day. And those of us that choose to point those things out, then you're going to have a problem. But I'll take that problem for 100, Alex. Because what I'm not going to do is sit around and watch you do some mess that you know is dead wrong. Because just as easy as you do it to them, I know that if you have the opportunity to do it to me, then I will be your next victim. And that ain't happening. So that's why I'm saying at some point, you know, we gotta stand up and, you know, you teach people how they treat you. You don't just let them treat you any kind of way. Even in those type of situations, people feel like, you know, oh well, they control me, I can only do so much. No, there's still things that you can do. You don't just let people just keep doing stuff over and over again. And that's what everybody's fighting for right now, because they see an injustice in different arenas. You see an injustice, and people are fighting right now because they refuse to sit around and let certain things happen to certain people, because they know if it passes with this person, then Pandora's box has been opened and stuff just going to come flying out all over the place, and we're not going to have any control over it. That fight has to be the same for everybody. It has to be the same for everybody. So I'm gonna go back through the comments real quick, see if y'all have anything for me. I'm not gonna keep y'all on here. I just want to make sure y'all had this information about Ahmaud Arbery, 25 years old, shot down in broad daylight, by Travis McMichael and Gregory McMichael. Gregory is a former law enforcement officer. He was a former police officer, and he was also a former investigator for the DA's office. So he knows right from wrong. No excuses. None. He also knew that he didn't have, him nor his son had any business running after that man with some guns, telling him to stop. They have no business approaching him at all. Period. If you saw him and you didn't like him walking through that house that hasn't been finished for umpteen years or whatever, okay, well, you call the person that owns that house, because you seem to know him, you know about his health, so you know him pretty well. So if that's the case, then you call him and let him address somebody walking through his house. That's none of your business. You inserted yourself in that, so you need to handle the consequences that come along with you inserting yourself in something that had nothing to do with you. And you trying to be your own little law enforcement all by yourself. Like you a one-man army, and you and your little son, and I guess you trained him up the way that you wanted him. You trained him in the way that you wanted him to go. And so now both of y'all are in this together. And your son he's going to be charged with murder. And we're going to make sure that happens, because that's the law. That's not coming after anybody. That's not coming after a particular group. That's not saying that all people in this group, all of them are bad. That's not even what it is. It's calling it for what it is. You tracked this man down. You hunted him down. You hunted that man. And when you see the guy standing on the back of the truck, I think that was the dad. You saw him standing on the back of the truck, like he was literally like aiming in, like he's like deer hunting or duck hunting or whatever, like that. What kind of mess is that? You on the back of the truck, like standing up on the back of the truck, like you getting ready to really, dude, you're not a police anymore. You're not. So at this point, whatever happens, happens, but we can't sit around and just let them get a pass on this. Let me take that back, because I said I don't tell people what to do. Y'all make a decision on that. I'm not going to sit around the same way that I have to make moves and other stuff, then I'll have to make moves in this one too. But no, this is, yeah. It's real. It's real. So, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hope you got something out of it. I encourage you to go and check into the story a bit more. Listen to the 911 calls. And just look at it. Sorry about that. All the way around, and you'll like there's no justification at all. There's no reason why. The same way they're saying that this man shouldn't be let out, he got these charges, he's a threat to the community and all this stuff. If you running around like you in the little Tommy Knockers movie or something, and you just running around driving your truck and you just picking out, girl Lisa, don't say that. You just picking out like random black dudes are like, oh, he's running, he's a fast runner, let's take him. Like, you are a threat to the community. You're not just a threat to the community, you are a threat to society, period. Because you are a cold-blooded killer. So you are a threat to society. So this stuff works all the way around. So the same outrage that people have for this stuff, you outraged that there's a chance that this person might get out, you need to be outraged that this person is not locked up. Why haven't they been locked up at all? They haven't spent one night on a cot. What's wrong with that picture? They don't know what a cop looked like. What a guy does because he was a cop. But no. You shot this man point blank range with a shotgun. Come on. Point blank. Hey Josephine, hey Ruby. With a shotgun. Come on, my fellas, my country folks, whoever, y'all know the damage that a shotgun does. You shot that man point blank. He didn't stand a chance. And all you see is him trying to push and fight to get away. He did not stand a chance. What are you supposed to do? You're running, you're minding your own business. You staying out the way. What do you do when the devil tracks you down? And you can't get away. What do you do? So, hey Martha. Lord have mercy. That did something to me. It's one thing to hear about it. It's another thing to see it and just see this guy's body just, even in death, he was trying to run away from them. And you saw him, even though he hadn't been shot, you see him turning around, still trying to run. And then you just see him drop. Like, that's real life. That's real life. So, yeah. We got some work to do, y'all. We got some work to do. And at the end of the day, anything else that's going on and it's not really conducive to us building ourselves up as a people, then those are distractions. All the way around. Take it off YouTube. It's not about YouTube. We're talking about in life. Those are distractions. That's exactly what they are. And again, we need to handle those things accordingly. So, like I said, I'm hoping that you go and get some more information on this situation with this young man. It did kind of float under the radar. I'm pretty sure people in Georgia knew about it. I'm pretty sure it was on their news or whatever, but it may not have received the attention that it needed initially, but we can for darn sure make sure it gets that attention now. And that's up to us. So I'll be posting a few things about what's going on. The more information that I get, I'm going to be posting on it. It may not be the thing that you guys want to hear about, but at this point, I'm here for us. I'm here for us. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. So with that being said, I thank you guys for tuning in. I said I pray for this young man's family, even though this happened February the 23rd. You know, I pray for this. I pray for his family that, you know, that they can have some type of peace and that they get some type of resolve in this whole situation. And that justice is served for everybody. Everybody. Not just the guys that did it, for everybody. You know. Justice is not, it's not indivisible, so it's not I can't even get my words out. It's not divisible. You can't divide it up. It's all or nothing. So yeah. So that's my rant for today, guys. I thank y'all for tuning in. And for tolerating this outdoor concert that we got out here with the construction people, the birds, the crickets, the dogs, and everything else. So until next time, you guys be safe, be healthy, and you know, be sucker free. Bye.